We just made mention of the negative stuff. Let's talk about the good stuff. In this case, I'm referring to the Summer Youth Program. Yes, it's hard to believe that we're talking about that already, and well, quite honestly, because of how cold it is outside. A major announcement made yesterday with regard to some of the folks they're actually teaming up with, and here to tell us all about it is the Director of District Columbia Department of Employment Services. Boy, that's a long title. None other than Dr. Unique Morris-Hughes. Good afternoon, ma'am, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I am so glad that you were here. So we covered this yesterday with regard to the Summer Youth Program. And I got to tell you, obviously, this was spearheaded by none other than Mayor Marion quite some time ago. There are so many folks that I have bumped in throughout the years that say to me, Guy, I got my first job through that program. And I'm pretty sure
Yes.
I would assume that you would say the same thing. That's got to put a smile on your face.
Yeah, it's so exciting every time I bump into people and they tell me about how they had the most wonderful formative experience being in the Marion Summer Youth Employment Program. And we're excited that we're coming back for our 45th year, where over 10,000 young people will have an opportunity to get their first summer job, or maybe they're a returning student and going to be working for their third or fourth year. But it's going to be really exciting and very cool this summer.
Yeah, and you all somewhat remixed it, as my young niece would say, and that's because he teamed up with the Young Doctors Project. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Young Doctors is one of over 700 host sites that host young people for the summer for an internship career opportunity. And the Young Doctors program is phenomenal. They're based out of Howard University, and young people learn early medical health skills, the same skills that a young man who spoke yesterday had an opportunity to save someone's life based off of what he learned this summer. So we're celebrating this 45th year by highlighting all of our programs, but this Young Doctors program was so special and so unique that we selected them yesterday to highlight.
Yeah, you heard me make mention of it in my open, and that is it's hard to believe we're talking about the summer already, and it's still January.
Already.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just sitting here
already.
astonished.
The important thing that we're talking about it now is because applications open. And in less than 24 hours, I've had over 3,000 applications
Wow.
already. That's already up from what we were at last year. And we want all DC resident youth to apply. And they can do that by going to summerjobs.dc.gov.
And so walk me through with regard to what's needed in order to really implement that whole application process. I mean, we can discuss the age group one would need to be and exactly how he or she would go about to fill out that application.
Yep. So it's super easy. So you visit summerjobs.dc.gov, and that is where you would go to the center of the page, and you'll find all of the key dates and information. You'll click on youth, and you'll start an application. And the good news is, if you applied in previous years, some of that information is already retained and in the system. You have to be a young person that's a DC resident between the ages of 14 and 24. That's right, we go up to 24 years old, and those youth between the ages of 22 and 24 years old make minimum wage. You have to prove that you're a DC resident, and that's it. It's pretty easy and pretty seamless and simple.
Yeah, Dr. Morris-Hughes, you are, it's no secret, you are on the forefront, the front lines, if you will, with regard to making sure that we create more awareness about this. You made mention of the gentleman that told a story yesterday, and I say it all the time. I'm a storytelling type of guy, and I hope you would share with us a story, perhaps of that, like the gentleman yesterday, or someone else you've encountered that this program really helped change his or her life.
Sure, I meet young people, all of the time, and adults. I have had young people who, have graduated from high school, but now they're young parents and they're in the Summer Youth Employment Program. I have young people who are interested in a career in public service, and they join the Marion Youth Leadership Institute, which is really part of the Summer Youth Employment Program. I myself, although not from DC, worked in a summer youth employment program in another city where I worked for the IRS, and it really helped to shape my career. The young people that I encounter and the adults say the same thing. If it wasn't for the Marion Summer Youth Employment Program, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So no matter what the story is or who I come across, male, female, 14 years old, 60 years old, they all say the same thing. Summer Youth Employment Program changed my life, and I hope will change more lives this summer.
Yeah, it gets an A plus on my list as well. I mean, you all do amazing work. You made mention of not necessarily being a native of Washington D.C., but well, you are now, and we accept you. We welcome you with open arms. But with that being said,
Thank
I'm
you.
curious, how would you compare what we have here in the nation's capital with some of the other summer youth employment services throughout the country?
Well, I would say that I am a DC resident, 20 years strong, but um, we probably have the most unique, most diverse, and most substantive program than, others across the country. What makes our program unique compared to some other large cities is that we start as young as 14 years old. We go up to 24 years of age. Um, the types of jobs that you can work in the federal government, you can work as a camp counselor for our Parks and Rec, you can work, on a computer or in video games, you name it. The opportunity is limitless. And I think that's what really makes our programming unique. The
Yeah.
other thing I want to say is that we've been giving out scholarships over the last 5 years. Over 500 young people, $1.5 million we've given, and that's another unique element of our program. And so there's lots of cool things about us. I believe we have the best program in the country, and it's certainly one of the most unique and substantive.
Obviously, this is near and dear to your heart. I'm just curious, it's being spearheaded by Mayor Bowser, of course. Have you had any conversation, or is there anything you could share with us about what you and her talked about with regard to this amazing program?
Well, Mayor Bowser is the biggest supporter and cheerleader of young people in the district, and she fully believes and supports the program. Matter of fact, it was her that helped push the program to get to 24 years of age. So, what I can say is that she always tells me how supportive she is and that these are great opportunities, and she wants to make sure all young people have an opportunity to capitalize on those opportunities. And she wants to make sure myself and my staff make those opportunities available.
Well, you're doing an amazing job, as is the mayor, with regard to making sure our youth get employment and stay employed. We all remember that first job. For me, it happened to be Jerry
We
Subs.
do.
Flipping cheesesteaks at that, and proud of it. And, well, as they say, look at me now, and look at you now.
Look at me now.
Awesome. Once again, we've been chatting with none other than the Director of the District of Columbia Department of Employment Services, Dr. Unique Morris-Hughes. Dr. Morris-Hughes, thank you so much for coming on the Fox 5 Live Zone. We truly appreciate you. Thank you.
And thank you for always being a supporter of young people in the District of Columbia.
You got it. All right. We'll chat soon. You've officially been LZ'd, as I like to call it, Dr. Hughes. All right, guys. How cool
Wonderful.
is that?